Okay, geometry. So we've figured out how to do the sine, cosine, and tangent, finding those ratios given an angle, knowing what angle we had. We could find out what that ratio value is as far as a decimal is using the calculator. And in the last unit there, we talked about how we can use them to figure out what the angle measures are. Now we're ready for that next step, and my screen's a bit too big. Let me reduce that a little bit here. Okay. Now we're going to start solving triangles. Now what that means is we need to know the measure of every angle and the measure of every side. Let's take a look at this. So when I look at it, again, to solve a triangle means to find the length of every side and the measure of every angle. So if I'm given triangle, let me use my finger there, triangle ABC, I have to find every length. I have to find the length of side AB, or you can call it C, because that would be the one there. So maybe I had to draw. So if I had an A, B, C, and C at my right angle, I would have to know what the length of side C is, or side AB. I'd have to know what the length of BC is, which is side A, or I have to know the length of AC, which is side B. I need to know all three of those sides, as well as what is the measure of every angle. Now, it's pretty nice in that we already know one of these is going to be a right angle every time, which really helps out. So let's try this right here. Here I have a triangle, and I want to solve this triangle. So that means I need to know what is the length of side A, of side B, and side C. I also need the measure of angle A, angle B, and angle C. So the easiest thing to do is go ahead and put that list down and then put what you know. I know C is 25. I know A is 16. I know angle C is 90 degrees. I already have 3 of the 6. I'm only looking for 3 of the other 6. Now, I can find side B because I know 2 sides, and I know the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared would have to equal C squared. So 16 squared plus B squared would have to equal 25 squared. So 256 plus B squared has to equal 625. So B squared is 625 minus 256, which gets us B squared to equal, and off the top of my head, that one's just not coming to me, 369. So what that would tell me is that B is the square root of 369. Now all 3 of those are divisible by 3, and if I divide it by 3, I get 123, and that's divisible by 3, which gets me 41. So this is 3 times the square root of 41, if that helps you out any. Okay, so the exact answer is 3 square root of 41. The approximate answer is the square root of 369. Is approximately 19.2. And it'll depend on what the directions say. And here we went around to find the values to the nearest 10. So they want us to use the 19.2 degrees, or 19.2. The 3 square roots of 41 is very helpful because that is an exact answer. It's not rounded. Now, I have all 3 sides, but I don't have all 3 angles yet. So that means I need to find the 3 angles. To find the 3 angles, I will have to use sine, cosine, or tangent. And I just got to decide which angle do I want to do. Do I want to use angle A or do I want to use angle B? Because we only use those acute angles in the right triangle. We don't use angle C. So I'm going to go with B. And as I look at B, I notice that the 25 is my hypotenuse, and the side B would be my opposite, and the 16 would be my adjacent. Now, we were given the 16 and the 25, so those are the 2 sides we really want to use, more so than the one we found, especially not the decimal number that we found, because that was a rounded number. So I want to use these 2 sides. Now, when I look at that, I got adjacent and hypotenuse. That's cosine. So the cosine of angle B would be 16 over 25. Well, to figure out the measure of angle B, we've got to do that arc cosine. So the arc cosine of 16/25 is what we're looking for. And I'll use my calculator now. So I will do arc cosine of 16 divided by 25, and it gets me 50.2081805 is what my calculator shows. But I'm supposed to round the answers to the nearest 10th. So 50.2 degrees is the measure of angle B. Well, now I know angle B and angle C. What's the measure of angle A? A would have to be the other value to get up to 180, which will be 39.8. So they might give you the triangle. They also might just give you one something like this, or like these two I have. They might just say, okay, solve the triangle, and here's what I'm telling you. Angle C is the right angle for this triangle ABC. I didn't have my triangle in there. Triangle ABC. Angle C is the right angle. So again, I got measure of angle A. I need the measure of angle B. I need the measure of angle C. I need side A, side B, side C. Now, it wasn't given to us. And here they said side AB is 14. Well, AB is the same as saying side C. AC is the same as side B, and BC is the same as side A. So just for your information, your three letters have to be in everybody's name. So if I use the two-letter AB, that means it had to be a side C. So that's another way to remember it. We know that one's 14. We know angle C is a 90-degree angle because that's what it told us up here. Now, I have the information there, and I just need to solve it out. If it helps you, whip out a little right triangle, call it A, B, and C, put the right angle on there, throw on your little A, your little B, your little C. A will always be opposite A, B will always be, all that part, and go ahead and throw in the numbers that you know. So I already know that tidbit of information. So what that tells me is I should be able to figure out angle B because I already have two of the three angles in the triangle. Well, 90 and 47, okay, we can go on to that. Or I can just say, hey, A and B have to add up to be 90. So 47 for 90 is 43 degrees. So angle B is a 43-degree angle. So now, I have to figure out the side lengths. I only have one side, so I cannot use Pythagorean theorem. What I can use is the fact that I know sine, cosine, and tangent. So I'm going to use angle A, and the reason I'm using angle A is because it was the one given to me. That makes side A the opposite, and side B the adjacent, and side C the hypotenuse. So with that in mind, I know that the sine of 47 degrees will equal A, I don't know what A is, that's the opposite side, over 14. So to figure out what side A is, I would multiply both sides by 14. So 14 times the sine of 47 degrees will give me the A. Well, 14 times sine of 47 gets us 10.23895, yada, yada. It runs on for quite a while. So A is approximately 10.2. Now, I could use that and the 14 and use Pythagorean theorem. But if I'm going to do that, I have to use the whole number in the calculator. Can't leave anything off. Rather not do that. So I'm thinking I'm going to go cosine of 47 degrees, which would be the adjacent side, B over 14. So again, if I want to find the B by itself, I'm just going to multiply both sides by 14. So 14 times the cosine of 47 degrees. 14 cosine 47 gets me 9.54798. So side B is about 9.5. Now we could check it and take 9.5 squared and add it to 10.2 squared and see if it gets really close to 14 squared. We know it's not going to be exact because we had decimals that ran on forever. But there we solved a triangle ABC. Now what about this case here? I've given AC is 14 and BC is 12. So I'm given AC, which is side B, is 14, and BC, which is side A, is 12. So A is 12, B is 14. I don't know side C. The measure of angle A, I don't know. The measure of angle B, I don't know. The measure of angle C, well, again, the direction said C is a 90-degree angle. Notice you have to be given 3 pieces of information to be able to solve this triangle. So the first thing I can do is I can figure out side C because I have 2 sides. And a squared plus b squared would have to equal c squared. So 12 squared plus 14 squared would equal c squared. So 144 plus 196 would give me c squared. So 340 equals c squared. So c is the square root of 340. Exactly. So that is 4 times 85. So the exact answer is 2 times the square root of 85. And it's nice to have the exact answer, but we also just wanted the answer to the nearest tenth. So it's approximately 18.4. Now, if possible, I do not want to use C for any other calculations. Now, I need to figure out what the measure of angle A is. Again, if it helps you, draw a triangle. A, B, C, and they told us that side AC was 14, and side BC was 12, and we just figured out side is about 18.4, and we got no angle measures whatsoever. So we got to decide which side are we going from. I want to find angle A. So when I look at it, the 12 is the opposite, the 14 is the adjacent, and I really don't want to use the hypotenuse. I want to try to stay away from it. So opposite and adjacent is tangent. So the tangent of angle A would be 12 over 14, which means the measure of angle A is our arctangent of 12 fourteenths. And the arctangent of 12 fourteenths gets us a number that's around 40.6 degrees. So measure of angle A is around 40.6 degrees, which means the measure of angle B is around 49.4 degrees. And I did that just by subtracting 40.6 from 90. You could also do the tangent of B, the arctangent of 14 divided by 12, and if I round that to the 10th spot, I get that same answer. So that is how you solve right triangles. You use Pythagorean theorem if you're given 2 sides, you can find the third one, or you use sine, cosine, or tangent, depending on which one you have, to figure out the angles. You got it now.